Welcome to the Podski.
What? Ooh, yeah.
You understand, baby?
Dig it?
Let me tell you another thing.
First name John, last name Baker. Uh-huh. Brother.
Hello and welcome to the Podski. I'm your host, the man of 1,000 gimmicks, John Baker. Today is gonna be a different show. I mean, it's not outside of the realm of things. We're obviously talking professional wrestling here, but I'm going to do a topic that was kind of based around the number 30. And the reason I was basing it around the number 30 was because I turned 30 last week. And just kind of wanted to do something that revolves around 30. And the only thing that revolves around 30 in professional wrestling is the Royal Rumble. So wanted to get on here and do my personal favorite Royal Rumble moments. I don't want to take away from our resident top 10 guy, AZ Jarhead. Hopefully you all enjoyed last week's show of our most underrated wrestlers of all time with AZ Jarhead. He's going to be back here again next month. We're going to do a Halloween super show, and I'm not going to give any more details away. There'll be more as we get closer and closer, but just kind of wanted to get that out there that it has been confirmed. We will have the Halloween super show on the Podski. And I don't want to take anything away from AZ and, taking away from the top 10 or anything. So I'm just going to do my top 5 favorite moments that I've experienced while watching the Rumble. And these Rumble experiences aren't going to be outside of, my wheelhouse of professional wrestling. Obviously, I came in that Ruthless Aggression era, and then I kind of bounced out in the PG era, and then now I'm back to what I personally call the modern day. So there's really good Royal Rumble moments throughout history, but I kind of wanted to do things that were specific to myself. So I'm just really excited for this show. Hopefully you all are enjoying everything that we're doing here on the Podski. Hopefully you're checking out our Woodstock 99 show, our top 10 most underrated wrestlers. Hopefully you're definitely checking out That's So Dolphins Talk, because That's So Dolphins Talk is a really, really fun show that I get to do with Trigger Trey every week. And, I thought that this Bills game review that we did this past week, I thought it was our best content yet. And I'm really excited. If you're listening this on Drop Day is Thursday, the 29th, and the Finns are playing the Bengals tonight. So I don't know what's happening, but hopefully the Finns come out with a big win and we move to 4-0 on the season. That'll be, I'm pretty sure it's the first time since like 1995 if they start 4-0. So really, really, really excited for the Finns. Got some injuries, but we'll grind it out. And but yeah, so just don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. We're on every single podcast platform you can possibly think of. And, hit us up on Twitter at @the_Podski. And we're also the same handle on Instagram. So I made it easy for you guys. So it's @the_Podski on Instagram and Twitter. And then obviously if you just go to Facebook and type in the Podski with John Baker, you will find us on there as well. So give us the follow, give us the likes and the love and the retweets and all that good stuff. Interact with us. We're looking for content. We want to know what you guys want to hear. So if there's something that you want to hear on the Podski, let us know. We'll get it on here for sure. So with that, we're going to hop right into my favorite Royal Rumble memories. All right, let's get into my favorite Royal Rumble moments. And, the Royal Rumble is such an awesome event. It's a great Pat Patterson creation. If you're unfamiliar with the Royal Rumble is an event that happens every January. It kicks off the WrestleMania season. It is the ultimate kickoff to WrestleMania, where there are 30 participants, and then every 2 minutes, a new opponent enters the ring, and then if you are thrown over the top rope and both feet hit the floor, you are eliminated. So it's an over-the-top rope, 30-man battle royal, essentially. It's all about the countdown and the entrances. That's essentially what the whole Royal Rumble is. It's all about getting the huge pops from the crowd getting them to cheer as loud as possible, keep them up the entire match, and then there's there's always a huge showdown. The final four is the really big deal. You always have at least one person that does something really acrobatic to stay in the match. You always have somebody who's always waiting on the outside that doesn't want to get in, and because the way to enter the Rumble is once you've had your entrance, once you enter the ring, you are then entered into the Rumble. And then if you would exit the ring from the middle or bottom rope, you are not eliminated. It's only eliminated if you go over the top rope. So there's a lot of wrinkles to the Rumble that have happened over the years, and I really enjoy the Rumble. The Rumble also is not limited to just the Rumble match. There's always really, really good championship matches. Now, sometimes they are the shits, and they're not very good. But I always really like the championship matches because they always have to go out because everyone is always super excited for the Rumble. So the championship matches, they're always, or the singles or whatever kind of matches that happen before the Rumble, those people really got to deliver because no one really cares about those matches. Everyone cares about the Rumble. And I always find those matches really interesting because you always get really, really good stuff in there. One that comes to mind instantly is that Brock Lesnar Finn Balor match that they had a few years ago, and I believe that was Phoenix. I think it does, that part doesn't matter, but that match was really, really good, and they really delivered, and I think that kind of helps me kind of segue into my number 5. My number 5 happened in the Royal Rumble 2003. We had a really big feud that was happening at the time, and this is at the absolute height of my fandom as a child. So we are at the highest of highs of me just loving everything, and my favorite brand at the time, because if you want to take a time machine back, my favorite show at the time was Raw, and that's obviously because I was a huge Triple H guy. I still am a huge Triple H guy, and he was the World Heavyweight Champion. He had just kind of come off this weird run between facing RVD and Bubba Ray Dudley. Let's take a second to talk about Bubba Ray Dudley. Bubba Ray Dudley is the fucking shit. I can't stand that motherfucker. All right? He should have been in my overrated list. I need to redo the overrated list. Full disclosure, the overrated list of wrestlers, that is what has the most views and downloads, listens. It's far and beyond what everyone is listening to on the Podski Network here. So I should have put Bubba Ray Dudley on there because I can't stand Bubba Ray Dudley. So back to it. Triple H, I kind of had these weird opponents, and then at Survivor Series, right before the Elimination Chamber match, Scott Steiner had debuted, and he really segued directly into, is he going to be on Raw or is he going to be on SmackDown? And then they had the whole thing back and forth with, did Steph want him? Did Steph get him? Did Bischoff sign him? And ultimately, Bischoff signed him to Raw. And then, he obviously went right into the title picture with Triple H. So the match that I am referring to as my number 5 is Triple H versus Scott Steiner at Royal Rumble 2003. And there's a lot of reasons why it's my favorite. And it's not for the fact that, yes, it is my favorite wrestler. Obviously, we all know this. But my favorite thing about this is the build. The build is awesome. You can't go wrong with this entire build. The build, so every week they did a thing on Raw where Triple H did some type of greasy, slimy way to get away from Scott Steiner. So they did the push-up contest. They did the pose down. The pose down is one of my favorite segments of Raw history. That thing does not get talked about enough. This entire build doesn't get talked about enough. And the reason that it doesn't get talked about enough is because they had a dog shit of a match. This match sucks. It's not good. And then they tried to do the payoff the very next pay-per-view after this at No Way Out, and it didn't go as good either. And there's a lot of speculation because it was like, well, did Trips really want to work with Steiner and you know that whole deal? I don't really know if that's the case. I just think that the two didn't have they just weren't a good mix to make a good classic match. They made great feuds because anytime you put Scott Steiner on the mic and everything like that, like something hilarious is about to happen. And I always enjoy Scott Steiner. And I really think he's one of those underrated guys too, where like, he has the ultimate physique, Freakzilla, Big Papa Pump, holla if you hear me. But I always have really, really, really enjoyed Scott Steiner, and I really enjoyed this feud. And so let's get to the match. So again, it's Scott Steiner versus Triple H at Royal Rumble 2003. So reasons why I love, I've already kind of given my reasons why I love this match, but I think that the punchline here is that Steiner was wrestling and he had like, if you go back and watch this match, it's not good, one. And secondly, the most distracting thing of all time is the fact that I don't know if Steiner was wearing one of those like a bodybuilder's like bikini thong or whatever, but the whole thing is sticking out of his ass the entire time, and it's so distracting. And everyone in the crowd is pointing this thing out, and Steiner's just in there just working. He like has no idea it's happening, but it's absolutely distracting. And the match, it doesn't help because the match absolutely sucks. You can clearly tell at some point that Kevin Dunn in the truck was trying to shoot the match so that they never got Scott Steiner's back. They're always shooting from Triple H's back. And Triple H, what they kind of did in the match was they tried to do the whole like Triple H is going to supersell for him and that whole jazz. And they were really trying to put over Steiner as a real force that could, a real legitimate force to take the title away from Trips. And that simply was never going to be the case. Like, it's not like Steiner was taking that title for him. Let's be real here. But that's the mark in me. But, that Rumble is, it's so good for so many reasons. But that match before the Rumble always pops me because it's just so bad. And there had so many expectations for it to be good. And it just wasn't good. But yes, that was my number 5. So number 4, this is the most recent one on the list. This happened in 2015, Royal Rumble 2015. This was the one that was in Philadelphia where Roman Reigns got absolutely booed out of the building. Nobody wanted to see Reigns win that damn thing, and they just kept shoving him down our throats. And, we were revolting as fans. Like, this Rumble is one of those where they clearly could have went the other direction and they didn't. Like, we really wanted Randy to win that thing, and they just ended up doing the same old Vince thing where Vince was pushing you down your throat, and it is what it is. And the reason that this is on the list is for one man and one man only, the national treasure himself, the Boogeyman. So, number 4 is the Boogeyman in the 2015 Royal Rumble. So, I need to paint a picture of this because this is not going to make much sense to a lot of people, but I was in college at this time. I was just wrapping up college, and this is whenever my buddies and I, Trick or Trey, the Chase, like we were all getting back into wrestling, and we, did the classic college thing: get a case of beer, we're coming over, and we're watching wrestling. So we, we got all of our gimmicks, and the funny thing about this whole entire thing is that Trey was living in an apartment at that time. And so like his we were watching this on the WWE Network that had just launched, and so we were watching it on the PS4. And his PS4 was in what he called the game room. Now, the game room was very, very small, and the only thing that fit in the game room was Trey's enormous ass recliner and the TV stand with the TV on it. So there's nowhere for any of us to sit, and we got four dudes in there. And my spot, I sat in the stairwell to go to the attic, and just so many weird situations that we've been in before where we, like, looking back, it's hilarious that we did that. But like at the time, like that's what it's all about. Like when you're at the time, like it's so much fun. Like I just remember this Royal Rumble as so much fun. And the reason that this is my favorite was because I was very heavily intoxicated with Bud Heavies, and I was real deep with the Bud Heavies. And number 7 hits, and here comes the boogeyman, and he's coming to get you. And I popped to the moon for the boogeyman. I have no idea why I popped so big for the boogeyman, but Bray Wyatt's in the ring. All of a sudden his music hits, and it's like, you know, like the weird enigmas against each other. Like Bray Wyatt was still the very, like, he was the swamp cult leader, and then you got this boogeyman dude who's coming down. He's got like a mouthful of worms, and it's one of the most craziest things. Like, it's a great visual because, you know, just of what the characters were. And, you know, he gets the really big entrance, and Boogeyman's making his way down to the ring, and he gets in, and they do a quick exchange, and, you know, Wyatt does the whole, like, the backhand spring type, like, crawl backwards deal, and it's very, very disturbing when he does that. And he eliminates Boogeyman within seconds. Like, I'm talking, like, it's one of the shortest it's one of the shortest Royal Rumble entrants of all time. Like, I was devastated when he got thrown out. I was absolutely devastated. I nearly cried. And, you know, I want to say that it's the Bud Heavies talking here, but I was purely devastated. And so now every year when Royal Rumble comes around, I'm fishing for a Boogeyman entrance. And full disclosure, I do have the Boogeyman Elite, which we're gonna get a figures podcast in here, because for those of you that don't know, I am an avid collector of figures. I got them out the wazoo. And but, you know, back to this Royal Rumble, there's a lot of cool things that happen in this Rumble, but I always have the softest of spots in my heart for this one, just because, you know, I don't know what happened to me. I fell victim to the Bud Heavies, and they got me good. So that was number 4, and that was the Boogeyman in the Royal Rumble of 2015. So moving on to number 3. Number 3 is these ones I weren't. There are going to be multiple ones to this one, and it's just because it's Kofi Kingston, and Kofi Kingston is one of the greatest Royal Rumble entrants of all time, because he's so insanely athletic, and he just does the craziest things. And it's been in every single Royal Rumble he's been in. He always does something crazy. So if you see the graphic for the show, and I apologize if you don't see the graphic for the show, you can see it on the Twitter, on the Facebook, on the Instagram. You'll be able to see the artwork that I made for it. I you know, sidebar here. I like to make these fun meme type artworks for all the shows, just because it's fun and it pops me to do it. So, you know, always give me the love for my memes that I make for this, because, you know, it's a little bit of something that I get out of each show every week, that I make the artwork for the shows. And, you know, AZ makes the ones for his shows. So, but anyways, back to the Kofi deal. Kofi he's just so much fun to watch in the Rumbles. He does such an incredible job. He is Now, full disclosure, I'm not a huge Kofi Kingston like fan of like his whole entire run, especially as champion and all that. But Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble is the greatest of grade A's. And, in 2014, he does he's like standing on the barricade and he jumps over onto the apron. Like that one really stands out. The one where he uses the chair, he like is bouncing the chair over to the ring to hop back in. He does the handstand in 2012. That was a really, really cool one. He's just had so many where like he uses other people like on the outside to make sure his feet never touch. And he's just so insanely athletic. And Kofi, he just always has a really, really big spot in the Rumble. And you're always kind of waiting for him to have the big spot in the Rumble. So number 3 is basically any Kofi Kingston gimmick in the Royal Rumble. And you just have to love what Kofi does. So, but yeah, moving on to number 2. This number 2 is fantastic. This comes from the 2002 Royal Rumble. And if you've ever seen the GIF, you know exactly what I'm gonna talk about here. But let's just paint the picture. In 2002, they had just come off of the Tough Enough show. And the Tough Enough show was, I really love Tough Enough. Tough Enough was fantastic. And the winner of Tough Enough was Maven. And, they were kind of pushing Maven a lot. And, they're in the Royal Rumble of 2002. And Undertaker's in there. He's in there just cleaning house. And then all of a sudden, Maven eliminates Undertaker. And it was like one of those like, whoa, like what the hell? Like Maven has what? Like this doesn't make any sense. Like Maven is we're on the road to WrestleMania. Like Undertaker still has his streak. Like what are we doing here? Like why is this happening? So as the melee out, because Undertaker obviously gets pissed, so he pulls Maven out. And, he's beating the tar out of Maven on the outside. And all of a sudden, Scotty 2 Hottie's music hits. And Scotty's doing the whole dance, like, down the ramp. And all of a sudden, the camera cuts to Taker. Taker sees him. And he just starts walking up the aisle. And Scotty's dancing. And then Taker just, boom, pops him right in the face. And he just falls like a sack of potatoes. And it is such an unbelievable GIF. So number 2 is Undertaker murders Scotty 2 Hottie on the ramp of Royal Rumble 2002. So you have to go out and see that. That is a great Royal Rumble, by the way. And the reason that is a really good Royal Rumble is obviously because, Triple H came back from the quad tear, and then, he gets in there and beats Uncle Kurt for the title at WrestleMania 18. So, I'm a huge lover of the Royal Rumble 2002. So, I encourage everyone to check out all of these Royal Rumbles. We'll run through them again here at the end so that you can get them all. But obviously, my number 1 favorite Royal Rumble moment, it's no secret. If you've seen the graphic for the show, it's pretty obvious what it is. It's not, I really swerved everyone there on the Shawn Michaels thing, but I really wanted to put Vince in the ring, and it's obvious that it's Vince McMahon blowing off both hamstrings in the 2005 Royal Rumble. This will live on in infamy forever. If you cannot be a professional wrestling fan and not know and or have seen this match. This match it's the damnedest thing you've ever seen in your life. So the final 2 are Batista and John Cena, and they're having like, this was like, they were at the height of their like runs. Like Batista was really he was turning on Evolution slowly, and it was really a really big time for the company. And there was a lot of old guys that were starting to phase out, and they were really trying to ring in the new era, and that new era was the PG era. And so Batista and John, they're having a really good ending to the Rumble, and all of a sudden they go ass over tin cups over the rope, and both feet hit at the same time. Like, it's never they essentially eliminate each other at the same time, and so who's the winner? And the damnedest thing about it is that none of this was planned, and they did not plan this. Batista was supposed to win, and I don't know what happened, if Batista just lost his balance or what, but I think that what an accident. Like, if you were gonna have an accident in the Royal Rumble, and it's gonna happen here, and it's none of it is planned and anything like that, like, how awesome is it that you fucked up so bad that you both eliminate each other at the same time, and there's no video disputable evidence to show who actually won? Like, what a better fuck up than that? So it's really funny that because chaos ensues as this happens. Like, nobody knows what's happening, not even like the boys. So they're all standing around like, what the hell? Like, yeah, we fucked up, but like, how do we fix it? And then it finally happens. We've all seen this as fans, and if you haven't, I really encourage you to go see it. And it's the damnedest thing you've ever seen. Vince comes down to the ring. He's hot as hell. He's so mad. He takes his jacket off. He whips it into the ground, and he's just takes off running. He's got the bright red face, like running into the ring, and he hits like right above his kneecaps. He hits both of his thighs on the apron, and we all know Vince isn't like the most graceful human being of all time, but he gets into the ring, and as soon as he stands up, his legs turn to jello, and all of a sudden he just he falls. He just falls like a sack of potatoes, and his legs are limp, and he's just sitting up against the ropes, demanding orders, and really directing traffic here, yelling and screaming. And it's the damnedest thing ever, because you have these giants. Like, you have Dave Batista is an enormous human, and so is John. Like, John Cena's not a small man either. You have all of these referees in the ring, and then you just have Vince sitting up against the ropes, and everyone's like, what in the hell is Vince doing? And so essentially what happens is that they restart the match, and they roll Vince out of the ring, and they have to take Vince out. And whenever he had gotten into the ring, he banged both of his quads. He hit them so hard that he blew both of his quads off the bone, tore them right in half. Now, they have said that he tore one getting it whenever he hit, and then whenever he went to stand up in the ring, the other one tore. But I have a feeling the way that he hit, that he blew both of them at the same time. It's the damnedest visual you ever want to see in your life. It is so funny. So, Vince McMahon blowing both of his hamstrings, that has to be your number one. If you're not doing like a really serious, like, this isn't meant to be a really serious, this is supposed to be a fun thing that I wanted to do for my birthday, my 30th birthday. And, it's, I just love that whole entire sequence of events. It's really funny. So, if you really want to go back and watch all of these things, that you absolutely can. You can see them all on the Peacock, and just fire up your Peacock, and you can find them all. And, number one, we'll do it in reverse. Number 5, we're going to run over them again, is Royal Rumble 2003, where Scott Steiner's Banana Hammock. Number 4 is the Royal Rumble of 2015, with Boogeyman getting eliminated within seconds. Next, we got a mixture of ones. We have 2014, 2012, basically anything that Kofi Kingston does in the Royal Rumble. Number 2, we have The Undertaker murders Scotty 2 Hottie at Royal Rumble 2002. And number 1, again, is going to be Vince blows both of his quads off the bone trying to get into the ring in Royal Rumble 2005. So, there you have it. That is some of my favorite Royal Rumble memories. We're for sure absolutely going to do, best Rumble moments with AZ Jarhead. And, to add on to that, I want to mention again that we are going to do a Halloween Super Show. Halloween Super Show. So it's going to be spooktacular. All of those funny words that you want to come up with. I am very excited for that. We're not going to kill the punchline here. We're going to have a super show. The super show obviously ensues. We're going to have more than one guest. So very, very, very excited for it. So hopefully you all continue to listen until then. But yeah. So what are your favorite memories of the Royal Rumble? I thought I have a pretty good collection of lists here. It's not a very overly serious list that we're doing here. This is more meant for fun. So let me know on _Podski on Twitter. You can hit me up on IG at _Podski. And you can also hit us up on Facebook at The Podski with John Baker. We're going to be continuously be cranking out posts and content here. We're going to do That's So Dolphins Talk again. We're going to do that tonight. Probably try to get that up Friday at some point, just because it's going to be a late night, and hopefully the Finns win. But I just want to say thank you to all of you listeners. We have hit a bit of a milestone here on the show. I didn't really have a lot of expectations when I did this. I was just purely doing all of this for fun. And, in a little over a month here, we have hit over 400 downloads, and by the time this is probably published, we're going to be over the 500 downloads. So I want to thank everybody immensely if you have been a part of the show, or if you've listened and, shared, retweeted, rate, reviewed, subscribed. Thank you to all of you. Thank you for all the love and support. This is a fun outlet that I have that I get to do here. So I just want to thank everybody who's been a part of it. And, hopefully we just keep continuing to grow. And but yeah, just wanted to thank everybody for listening. And we got That's So Dolphins Talk coming up in the next couple of days. Not sure what our topic's gonna be next week. We're gonna have to dig into the Voltsky, but very excited to give you some more content here on the Podski. Definitely excited for the Halloween Super Show. So for sure going to do that, and hopefully you all enjoyed today's podcast, and we'll see you next time on The Podski.